Pittsburgh Steelers fans, I'm Kevin Tate here for another episode, Sunday episode of We Run the North on the BTSC platform. Today we have a guest with us. We have my boy, my homie, Cincinnati Bengals fan, Brandon Herriott, aka B Dirt. He's here to tell us about the Bengals, what he thinks about the Bengals. He's been a lifelong fan. So B Dirt, what's good, man?
Well, just so everybody knows, I am about 3 miles from downtown Pittsburgh right now. It's where I reside. I am a transplant. So it's interesting wearing my stripes around here. But no, man, just enjoying a good season from last season, critiquing it and getting excited about what's coming up.
Right. So, hey, man, let me ask you this. Do you get heckled and bothered and stuff when you wear your Cincinnati Bengals stuff swag down in Pittsburgh?
You know, not too much, to be honest with you. There's a lot of places I'd rather not be with them on. You get the normal stuff, but I think it has partially to do with the fact that we've basically been little brother most of the time. I don't think we're looked at as a major threat. I think that might change, hopefully here over the next few years. But no, I mean, for the most part, people are pretty, you give a little ribbing back and forth, but nothing too bad. I mean, it's a lot easier than going to Cleveland or Baltimore.
Right, and I have to acknowledge you do represent. I know I was there visiting you. We went to a game. I think it was 2015.
Yeah,
you had on all your Bengals swag and stuff. It was the game. I know we won the game. I know it was pouring down rain.
Yeah, it was the home opener for the Steelers, and It was the year after what I refer to as the perfect ending.
The year after the playoff game.
Yeah. If you remember, I had a shirt on. It just said "Free Perfect" on it. And everybody stopped and took pictures with me. So, everybody. I had Steelers fans giving me the bird and joking around and laughing, putting their arms around me. It was all in jest and funny. I think I didn't know any Cincinnati Bengals fans that didn't think that Burfict was what was not also a problem in our team as in a league in general. So it was kind of all in jest, and everybody kind of took a good swing at it and had some fun with it. It was a good time.
Right. Okay. Well, before we get started, I got some questions for you about the Bengals, but let me just acknowledge some of the people in the live chat. What's up, Eric Henney and Clarence Washington? Scott Higgins, what's up, fellas? Is that Sherry Richards? Hey, Sherry, what's up? How are you? So, we're going to get started, jumping here real quick. And how we're going to do this, I'm going to ask Brandon questions from a Steelers perspective about the Bengals. Then I'll give him the floor, and he'll ask me questions about the Steelers. And then we'll just open it up for some Q&A and comments maybe about the Browns and the Ravens, the other teams in the division. So we'll just get started like that from here. So, B Dirt, starting out with you, man, I'm just going to ask you, how long have you been a Cincinnati Bengals fan?
I think the first game I went to, I think I was about 8 or 9 years old. I just remember it being extremely cold, and my dad made me wear a snowmobile suit. Grew up about 2 hours north of Cincinnati, and that was the first time I went and saw a football game, and I was hooked. So,
what, you were 8 years old?
8, 9. I don't even think I was 10 years old. I just remember my mother wasn't too excited about me going because it was bad weather, and my dad was like, "Nah, put the snowmobile suit on. We're going."
Nice. Was that Kenny Anderson or Boomer Esiason when you went first time?
That would have been just before Boomer, and would have been that was back at Riverfront Stadium.
Okay. Yeah, Riverfront. So you've been a Bengals fan for roughly over 35 years then.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, I'm 45 now, so it's but it's been my whole life. It's been a rough go of it for most of it. Couple couple little good seasons here or there, but no sustained, activity as far as being good.
I'd say it's not as rough as having been being a Cleveland Browns fan, though.
No, I mean, I don't know what it would have felt like to have your team just leave on you, but that had to hurt,
Right.
I mean?
But then leave and be the Baltimore Ravens, therefore be good.
And win a championship.
Right.
Most of your old players won a championship. That'd be hard to swallow, man.
That would.
Yeah, it's definitely tough. But yeah, I mean, I've been, obviously, I think at that point in time when I first started going, I didn't know really any of the players, but when they went to the Super Bowl, I was, I think I just turned 12. So that was right when I started, everybody was collecting cards. I knew the stats on the back of everything. I had my favorite players weren't stat stuffers and just the best players in the league and those kind of things. Like it wasn't the boomers and the Ickey Woods and the people that you would normally think of, it was the James Brooks. It was the David Fulcher was my favorite. Tim Krumrie, I almost cried when his leg broke in that Super Bowl.
I remember that in the Super Bowl.
I still remember flopping around.
89 Super Bowl, right?
Yeah. So, yeah, it was, that was really where I came from.
So let me ask you this. You just mentioned your favorite. I don't know. You said David Fulcher. Who's your all-time favorite Bengal?
David Fulcher.
David Fulcher.
100%. Yeah. Fulcher. I was a Fulcher's vulture. Yeah, most definitely. And if he played in the league right now, he would be fined. He would be suspended, thrown out of games.
I think David Fulcher is the one that made the career-ending, injury-ending tackle on Bo Jackson.
Yeah, that dislocated his hip. Yeah.
Yeah,
that's the way he was, man.
He wouldn't even be a safety today. He'd be a linebacker and a thumper linebacker at that.
Yeah.
Fulcher was a big dude. I think he might have been about 6'3", 240 back then. Maybe?
Yeah, right around then. Yeah, right around there.
Yeah, big guy. I remember him. So he's your all-time favorite Bengal.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's talk about the current state of the Bengals. Today's Bengals. You guys had a heck of a run. You swept us this year. You whooped us 2 times.
Yeah.
You guys beat us really bad 2 times, and you ultimately end up finishing 10-7. And Pittsburgh finished 9-7-1. Had we not tied that game against Detroit, it would have been a tie for the division. But like I just said, you guys still would have won. And you guys sat at the last game against Cleveland. You kind of threw in the white flag on that one. Yeah. So you easily could have won 11-6. But even if we had a tie, you beat us real bad both times. So you would have won the division by the tie break anyway. But so you guys drafted Joe Burrow #1 overall last year. He was the Heisman winning quarterback for LSU
2 years ago.
Yeah, 2 years ago. I'm sorry, you're right. So you guys drafted Joe Burrow 2 years ago. He was a Heisman winning quarterback from LSU, led them to the national championship. Us Ohio State fans know he was a transfer from the Ohio State University. And I say that because knowing that you're a Michigan fan too, I say the Ohio State. But you guys beat us late. Last year was a great year for you.
Yeah, last year was it was my best football. It was my best football year of my adult life, I would say.
Yeah. No doubt. I forgot about that. I'm talking about the Ohio State University, talking about Joe Burrow, and you guys smacked us around Ohio State Michigan game.
Yeah.
You're living good in the football world right now, man.
It was a fun run, yes.
But so, and I say this about Joe Burrow. I don't know if Steelers, I feel like us as Steeler fans, and you can tell me how you feel about this. I'm just going to throw it in there real quick because we're talking about Joe Burrow. But for whatever reason, Joe Burrow couldn't get on the field at Ohio State because of Dwayne Haskins. And we have Dwayne Haskins, and I feel like he's continuously overlooked. I'll say he had his issues in Washington, some maturity issues. He wasn't mature. He wasn't ready, I don't think. But I think this all season. He'll get his chance to compete, and I don't think we just as Steeler fans can just overlook him. He's first round pedigree, the 15th overall pick. A lot of people say he should have been picked earlier than the Danny Dimes, the guy for the Giants. What's his name?
Yeah.
Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones
out of North Carolina. Yeah,
should have been picked before Daniel Jones.
Daniel Jones is Duke. Was he
Duke. Yeah. But out of North Carolina as a state, so I knew where he was coming from. But yeah, no, Joe Burrow, man, has come over and take the league by storm, man. I mean, I really like that kid. I mean, I didn't know if I wanted him to play at Ohio State, but I see every reason why he should have played. But I mean, he's just turned you guys around. You guys have your franchise quarterback for the next 10 or 12 years. I mean, at least. Well, what do you think about Joe Burrow?
What can I say about him? Nothing but adoring stuff. The guy's tough. He's smart. I've watched over the past 2 years, especially coming back from that injury. I watched the game from week 4 last year to week 12. It looked like he took the game and took the speed in half, cut the speed in half. Like he was processing so much faster than what he was at the beginning of the year, and making better decisions and not trying, a couple of the interceptions he even had were balls that I specifically remember one. Jamar Chase had a touchdown and flipped it up in the air, and it was an intercepted pass.
Yeah, I remember that one.
There were several ones that were just he threw it on the nose, and it was just bad plays by wide receivers or whatever. But I love his swag. I love his confidence. The one thing that I always worry about, and this is kind of the being a Bengals fan curse, is I watch all these guys now getting the Brinks truck backed up and getting $50 million a year and $45 million a year, and that's not Mike Brown's MO. So that worries me. I say yes, 12, 15 years we should lock him up. I don't know if we will or not, man. I'm always that pessimist. It's part of being a Bengals fan until they prove me wrong. I was even a pessimist going into this offseason, so I'm sure we'll get into that later. But no, as far as Joe Burrow, I don't know how we could have had a better pick. And I'm happy he's here and happy we got our guy for now.
I agree, and I'll follow up with that. But first, you see the question on the screen from Sherry Richards.
I do. It's a funny story. So I went to an Ohio State, Michigan, party when I was a kid with my dad, and I was wearing an Ohio State jersey with a white T-shirt on underneath it. And I don't know if you guys ever been to Ohio State, Michigan game or to a viewing party, but they can get quite animated, we'll say. And some of the Ohio State fans, I guess, were being ugly to Michigan fans. I am just retelling the story that my father told me because I had no idea how it happened. But I went to my dad at halftime and said, I don't like the way they're treating the other fans. Kind of root for the other team. And he said, and I never quit.
But you went to an Ohio State game in Columbus.
That was years later. The first time was when I was a kid. We were actually in Lima. We just went to a party. Friends were watching the game, and there were Michigan fans, Ohio State fans. There were even Notre Dame fans there that were rooting for both of us to lose. You know what I mean? But it was kind of a mixed mash of people. But yeah, they were just being fans. That rivalry is pretty heated. Fast forward, I think I was about 13 or 14. I went to and I will preface this with I was 6 foot tall when I was 12, so I was a larger human being when I went down. But I was like 13 or 14 years old. Went to a game in the Horseshoe, and Michigan actually won that game one of the years that we weren't supposed to win. And we actually pulled it off. I think it was late 80s.
When you were 13 or 14 back then, Michigan was winning a lot back then, the John Cooper years.
Yeah, that was the start of the John Cooper years, yep. And So yeah, we went. Michigan won. We were walking out, and there was probably a 60-some-year-old woman threw a half-eaten hot dog at me and told me to go back where I came from.
Okay.
So that was kind of fuel to keep that Michigan thing going. So that's how I ended up a Michigan fan.
Okay, I get it. So back to Burrow, man. I agree with everything you said. He's tough. He has moxie. Dude is super poised. I mean, his poise in the pocket, because this past couple of years, he's been under a lot of pressure with that Bengals O-line.
Yeah.
Not being a really good one. Much better than the Steelers O-line's been the past couple of years, but still not a really good O-line.
That's a race to be the world's tallest little person.
But he still makes things happen, man. And I mean, I think Burrow's super cool. I personally like cool athletes. You know what I mean? So like, I mean, even though a lot of Steeler fans don't like Tom Brady, I dig Tom Brady. Not because he beats the Steelers a lot in his career, but because he's just so cool, man. I mean, like all he's done in his career is win championships, marry supermodels. Yeah. I mean, I think Tom Brady's cool. I like Derek Jeter. I like those kind of guys. You know what I mean?
Composure at the most constricting of times. Absolutely does not blink. Ice water in the veins.
Absolutely. I think you pouring on because he's a Michigan guy too. But I digress with that one.
Oh, Jeter wanted to go. Hey, Jeter wanted to go to Michigan too.
Jeter's from Michigan.
I know. I'm just saying. Yeah. You're the one to keep throwing out the names. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I like all those guys, man. But so you guys this offseason have acquired some linemen to try and beef up that line for Burrow.
Yeah.
What do you think about those acquisitions?
I think my favorite thing about them, is the whole prove to me. You know what I mean? Like I said, being a pessimistic fan. What are we going to do? How are we going to follow this up? Are we just going to try and piece this together the cheapest way we can? Because that's what we've done in the past. And they've drawn a line in the sand, and they went out and got some really good players.
Name drop a few. Tell us about a couple of them.
So my favorite one is Kappa out of Tampa Bay, to be honest with you, because we haven't had a guard that was just an absolute mauler. And I like that, especially for Joe Mixon's running style. Somebody that you can get a pulling guard out there and block in front of him. Mm-hmm. I think that will be huge for him. We got Karras, the center out of New England. Really good center, and on top of being really good, very intelligent. And I think we need a little more of that for putting the pieces of the puzzle together.
Okay.
We were pretty weak there. And then the big name signing was Collins, the tackle out of Dallas. I really like him. Compared to what we did have, it's a big overhaul. So I really like the pieces, and it's by putting that money in and getting the pieces that were available in free agent market where I didn't see, a great value. And some of those, what we got those guys for, I mean, we got Collins for what you guys are paying Chooks. I'll take that every day. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's the same ballpark. I think one's 9, one's 10 or something along the same lines. I love what they did there, and it frees them up, in my opinion, in the draft to go after best playmakers available. I think we'll lean defense more than offense, but I think, getting a cornerback at 31, or maybe more depth at linebacker. With Wilson having shoulder surgery, he's been our best defensive player in my opinion the past couple of years. Maybe outside of Hendrickson, you can make an argument about. But we're going to need more depth at defensive line. We're going to need more depth at other, like defensive line. Hendrickson's only signed for 1 more year. You know, we've got some stuff that we need to shore up. We don't have that side shored up as much as the offensive side right now. So I think that's where we're going to see those assets, and that's what I really like about our offseason. It's given us the ability to do that.
Okay, so you guys picked up those offensive linemen. You lost one of your D linemen, right?
Yeah, we lost. Who did we lose?
Ojobi?
No, Ogunjobi. I don't think he's signed yet.
Okay.
I think he's still out there. And I don't know. I'm surprised. I don't know if he's asking for more than we're willing to pay, or if he's asking for more years. I think we signed BJ Hill. And I think that in our mind, maybe that was one or the other. We're not going to put, I don't know. But we signed BJ Hill.
Mark Tobin in the chat. I believe he wished we could have signed Collins. You know, because Pittsburgh has been trying to rework our offensive line, and we probably could use an experienced tackle. Dan Moore was a rookie 4th round pick out of Texas A&M last year. He started 16 out of 17 games. I mean, so I think he got a lot of experience. He'll be good. But finishing up with my questions for you, 2 more. The acquisition of Hilton from Pittsburgh last summer.
Yes.
What do you feel like Hilton brought to your defense, and was he worth the signing you guys signing for? Because we didn't want to dish out the money that he made, but we probably could have. We had reworked some contracts and cut some people that didn't do anything. But what do you think about the signing? What did he do for you?
So I think he was well worth the money. He brought a physicality on the inside on that slot position at corner that we haven't had. And I think, honestly, it kind of allowed us to cover up some insufficiencies, if you would, on the outside.
Right.
Because between him and Hendrickson being able to get home a lot more and getting that push up the middle with Hill and Ogunjobi and those guys, it seemed like that it covered up a little bit, because I don't know. Eli Apple, I don't think, is the answer. I don't think Trey Flowers was the answer. Unfortunately, we re-signed Eli Apple in my mind, but you got to have somebody out there playing. And we're not signing Stater. Yeah, yeah, but
you guys cut Flowers though.
Yeah, and Vernon Hargraves, Trey Waynes is another guy we thought was going to be great. He's been very underperforming. We're not re-signing any of those guys right now. So I think that, yeah, he definitely shorted up. And you know, we always talk about you're hating on me, you're hating on this. I make no bones about the reason why I don't like the Steelers is because I'm envious of how well ran they've been for so long. That long sustained drive of, I mean, what is it now? 17, 18 years without a losing season?
Yeah.
That's incredible. You know what I mean?
I believe the last losing season was 2002. I'm just guessing. I'm not sure, but it's somewhere around there.
So I don't lose the fact that when you bring somebody that was a part of that winning, like, tradition and understanding that, I think that culture. I think that culture and that piece in the locker room was also very valuable from Hilton. You know what I mean? And I think Hilton was one of the first guys that said he wanted to come over and play with Burrow. And I mean, you're seeing a lot of those other guys follow suit. I mean, Kappa signed with us right after, within 48 hours after
free agency open.
After Brady said he was coming back.
Okay.
Brady said he was coming back, and Kappa still signed with us.
Wow.
So that was huge. You know, I mean, I think we're starting to see, like, some people want to come play with this guy. You know,
yeah.
Some people want to come protect this cat, if nothing else. Hayden Hurst, I think, is under the radar kind of signing.
Tied in from Atlanta.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think he'll be really good.
But because you guys lost your tight end, right?
Yeah. Zamaway went to the Jets.
Okay.
CJ, yeah. Now he was kind of a vocal leader for us. He was an average tight end, in my opinion. I don't think we lose anything by going Hayden Hurst there.
I mean, I think you have the quarterback to be a force multiplier. Yeah. I think Joe Burrow will make those players around him better. Not to mention you got Chase and Higgins and Tyler Boyd out there. I mean, we know Jamar Chase is going to demand a double team. So Hayden Hurst will have a lot of opportunities. You know, he should eat. He should do well.
Yeah.
My last question, real quick, before I turn it over to you, is just what do you think? You guys, for so many years, have been used to picking early at the top of the draft, and now this year you're picking almost at the very bottom of the draft.
Yeah. I mean, 31 is when we picked T. Higgins with our second pick in that draft.
Okay.
You know what I mean? That's was he 31 or 33? I don't know. You know what I mean? Like that's normally our second. That's a couple of picks away from our
second from being your second pick of the draft, right?
Yeah, it's an interesting thing. Like luckily, you know, most of those you know, where I think we're gonna miss in that first 20, you're gonna see quarterbacks, you're gonna see wide receivers coming off. You see a lot of splash players, and I think we're good in those areas right now. We're going to miss some defensive linemen. You know, it'd be nice to get one of those top 5 defensive linemen. I don't think we will where we're at.
So where you're picking, I mean, being realistic, where you're picking, who would your pick be if you could get the player you think you guys could benefit from the most in that range? Realistic pick in that range.
Well. So this is man, how do I think we need a linebacker, right? But I think there's better value in rounds 2, 3, 4 at linebacker.
Right.
I don't think there's no one jumps off the board. It's going to be available in that late first round that I think is going to be a big splash player. Could be wrong. Somebody might fall. We don't know.
Best available then?
Best available. I think we're going to end up with a cornerback. I like the kid out of Florida.
Elam.
Yeah, Elam. I like Elam. You know, he's kind of taller. So to me, I think it would be Eli Apple with a bigger upside. That's the way I look at him as far as his skill set.
Okay.
I think he can play the ball a little bit better.
Dig that. All right, man. So I'm going to turn over you to be the question asker, and I'll sit here and give some answers of what I think.
So we'll give you a layup here to start off with, right?
Sure.
How excited are you about possibly pulling off getting Honey Badger out there? Is that I hear some rumblings?
That's a good question, man, because a lot of people in the live chat thus far that have already commented on we need Honey Badger. I would love to get Honey Badger, man, for the right price. If Honey Badger wants to be part of the culture that you were mentioning, he probably got to take a little less money, maybe $1 million, $1.5 million less a year to play in Pittsburgh. I mean, I could see him signing 2 years, $24 million. You know what I mean? I know our capologist, Omar Khan, can work something out to make that work. Our defense is great now, but if we were to add to Honey Badger, it would go to elite. And a lot of people, Steeler fans, are saying, I've seen them say, Honey Badger doesn't fit. He does the same thing Minka does. Bring Edmonds back, the kind of in-the-box run stopper, safety like that. And my response to that would be that Honey Badger can do those same things. He's a short tackler. He doesn't bring the size that Edmonds bring. But I think when you're trying to create an elite defense, you just want playmakers all over the place, I mean, so to pair him back there with Minkah Fitzpatrick, you have two of the best playmakers at that position in the entire NFL in your defensive secondary. They make everybody better. The corners, because we have right now, we signed Ahkello Witherspoon and Levi Wallace away from Buffalo. Those guys are good corners, but they're not like Patrick Peterson or Joe Hayden in their prime. You know what I mean? So those two safeties back there would make those guys just so much better. And to pair their playmaking and speed in the middle with Miles Jack coming and Devin Bush, I mean, just all up the middle of our defense would just be great. And we already know what we have on the line with Cameron Hayward and TJ Watt. So I'm all for the Honey Badger. I mean, like I said, the price has to be right. He can't get 14, 15 million, but he could get 12 million.
I think that's a good deal for both sides, though. I mean, if he wants to stay playing with winning football teams, there's a lot of people trying to work around salary cap issues right now. So it's an interesting time we're living in.
Right.
I just saw. I just realized how to bring up the chat over here. The Ariel 75 is hitting on my next question here. Draft wise, who would you like to see on that draft? Because I think that you and I are of the same opinion of this guy, and I think you're going to hit Ariel 75's comments on the nose here. I could be wrong.
This one?
That
one. Man, as far as the draft goes for the Steelers, in Colbert and Tomlin, we trust, right? So whatever those guys decide to do, I'm okay with. Now, if they're going to make a move at quarterback, the only quarterback I want in the first round is Malik Willis. If they have to trade up and spend some assets to get Malik Willis, some future assets, I'm okay with that because this is a move for the future anyway, right? If you're going for your quarterback, I don't think he would come in and play this year. So say Malik Willis is going in the top 5 or 6, and he could go, and I don't think the Steelers would go up that high to try and get him. They might go, 9, 10, something like that to try and get him, but I don't think they'll go high as 5 or 6 to trade up to try and get him. So if we're sitting back there at 20, there's any number of players I want. I would love Jordan Davis from Georgia.
That animal ran that sub 540.
Yeah, he's a beast.
Oof.
Yeah, well, 4.78, I think.
Yeah.
6'6", what, 340 pounds?
341.
341
pounds.
So yeah, I mean, I like Jordan Davis, but at that point in the draft, any number of players could be available. If Jordan Davis was available, I'll run up to the podium, and that's who I'm taking if I'm the Steelers. But assuming he's not there, because he could easily be gone before that, I would be okay with Stingley, the cornerback from LSU. I would be okay with the wide receiver Olave from Ohio State. I would even be okay with Devin Lloyd, the linebacker from Utah. I know we picked up Miles Jack and have Devin Bush, but just to have another, again, here's that word, playmaker on defense that would be interchangeable with Jack and Bush and give them rest and give different looks and put all three of them on the field at the same time. I just think that would really make our defense, like I said, elite.
Yeah, who do I see? Somebody in here commented about, yeah, it was Ariel 75 again. Actually, the Bengals really wanted Devin Bush. I know I'm a Michigan fan and a Bengals fan. I really wanted him too. I cursed when you guys traded up to get in front of us because that broke a string of you not trading up, and you took him right in front of us, and I've been happy ever since that day. It all worked out.
Yeah. So,
we've talked a little bit about contracts and things of that nature, and I've kind of hinted to the whole quarterbacks making $40 million, $50 million a year, and some of these things that people are starting to work around, and they're losing some really big key pieces. You got wide receivers out there making $25, $30 million now a year. You guys yourself have some big contracts out there on the defensive side. I see your Watt jersey hanging up back there.
Yeah, man.
At what point does the handcuff start getting too tight? From contracts. Like how do you see, like, is it going to be they're going to pay big time on 3 or 4 players, and then everybody's going to try and piece the rest together and draft young, and draft capital will go up? Or what do you think the future holds with that kind of stuff?
I think we're in the best place we've been in the past 10 years, man. I mean, we finally have unloaded Ben's contract. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, we've been paying this guy at least $30 million for the past 10 years. I mean, he took a little pay cut this past year, but we've freed up a lot of salary cap space. We are paying TJ now. We're paying Cam Hayward, but he's going to be, coming up to the end of his contract. He can restructure for something a little cheaper, a little hometown friendly. We got to pay Minka coming up this year. I mean, but really outside of that, and we did pay Chooks a nice amount. I believe it's like, was it 3 years, 29 million or something like that?
Yeah, 27.
Right. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But and that's like performance based. So like they're I believe there's a clause that the Steelers can get out of that contract, and so he has to perform to earn the contract. But it's a nice contract, but he's been a starter for 2 years now, and he's 24 years old. So we still see even more upside in that contract. So we could be theoretically getting Chooks for cheap. If he pans out and gets better over the next year or two and becomes a Pro Bowler and such like that. I mean, because tackles aren't cheap. And so $9 million a year for a Pro Bowl tackle, if he reaches that pinnacle, then that would be a good price. So we're not paying a lot of people. Kevin Colbert and Omar Khan work out a lot of good contracts for the team. Like a lot of the guys we just signed in free agency are on 2-year deals, a couple of them. James Daniels and Mason Cole, a Michigan guy on our team, just signed with us, or on 3-year deals. But, we needed to beef up the O-line. So I like the way our contracts are structured. The next big money person will probably be Minka, and we'll have to decide if we are going to pay Deontay Johnson. Not anything huge, not top end wide receiver money, but he may get 14, 15 million a year. But those are only big contracts I foresee coming in the near future. I mean, we didn't pick up Devin Bush.
Well, if you're going to take those 2 contracts on, though, that pretty much takes you out of, unless you move a lot of things around, free agency market as far as big name quarterbacks. All right.
I don't think that's our plan. I think our plan is to roll what's in the room and draft somebody. If not this year, ideally for me, we can get Willis. He's on a rookie contract for 5 years. We control him. And even when he plays, he probably wouldn't play until the 2023 season if we got Willis. And then if we don't get the quarterback that we want this year, I think we turn around next year and push our chips all in for CJ Stroud or Bryce Young from Ohio State and Alabama. So I don't think the plan is to get a big free agent quarterback at all.
So I know you've addressed the offensive line as being a glaring need. And this is something, being in Pittsburgh as I am, I listen to a lot of sports talk radio. One of the other things that I think gets brushed a little bit under the rug, everybody talks about how good the defense has been and making that next step to become an elite. But what were you, 31st in run defense last year?
Next to last, you're absolutely right.
So what does it take to shore that up? Do you think is it getting better in the middle of the defense, in the middle linebacker, the defensive line? Like,
I think it's getting healthy. I think last year, I believe the 3rd game of the year, we lost Tyson Alualu. Stephon Tuitt never played all year because of personal situation with his brother's tragic passing, and he had injury going into the season, but he didn't come back at all because he wasn't mentally ready. I think Devin Bush coming back another year removed from the ACL injury. I think he'll play better. I like Miles Jack over Joe Schobert in run stopping and just playmaking in general. Miles Jack is a playmaker, and I also like to change up. I love Keith Butler as our defensive coordinator for all those years, but it was kind of getting stale. We've been doing the same thing for 10, 12 years now. I think Terrell Austin will bring a different type of spice to the defense, along with Brian Flores being in the room too to help coach up the linebackers and offer schematic tips and what we should do and things like that. I mean, I think about the game he coached last year when the Dolphins beat the Ravens. Remember that game?
Mm-hmm.
They had like 9 guys up in the box the entire game, just making it miserable for Lamar Jackson, right?
Yep.
So I think just getting healthy, those guys on the line, the D-line. We got Montravius Adams, a defensive tackle who we picked up off the New Orleans Saints practice squad last year, who looked real good toward the end of the year. He came, he's back, he signed. He'll be a nice piece. Not a starter, nice piece. Mm-hmm. With Aluwalu and Tuitt back and those guys and Devin Bush healthy and Miles Jack, I think we'll move back up to a top 10 run stopping defense very quick. We already know where we stand with the pass rush.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Watt's the real deal, man. He's a stud.
Watt is the real deal.
The first game you didn't have Watt when we played you guys, and I was very thankful because past 2 years.
I think he played, but I think he went out in like the second quarter, pulled his groin. That was the game he pulled his groin.
But I think he was questionable going in, and then didn't. I don't think he was himself.
Maybe I'm thinking about the game against the Raiders. I think you're right.
Yeah. But it's one of those things like I've referred to the last 2 seasons of Breaking Burrow as episode 1 through 17 in season 2. I'm just worried about getting that kid broke, and definitely TJ Watt's one of those guys I'm worried about breaking him. No doubt.
Right, you got to see that guy 2 times a year, but
yeah.
Conversely, we have to see Burrow 2 times a year. Burrow and Chase.
Yeah.
All the more reason to put the Honey Badger back there. You guys have Chase, Higgins, and Boyd.
Yeah.
And Joe Mixon out the backfield. I mean, yeah, we need all the playmakers we can get.
So I know you wanted to talk a little bit about the AFC North, what we see in the future, and I think your Brian Flores defense against the Baltimore Ravens is a nice little segue, because I was actually curious if you think the rest of the league is going to kind of play that way, because I really thought putting everybody in the box and then putting somebody over Mark Andrews that won't let him off the line was big. They were chipping him too.
Yeah, I mean, you talk about in regards to defending Baltimore,
mm-hmm.
Lamar Jackson. I mean, I think he created a blueprint. I mean, I believe that might have been one of the last few games Lamar Jackson was healthy, because the Ravens at one point I believe were 8-2 last year, 8-3, and they finished I believe 8-9. So they went on a horrendous losing streak.
Yeah.
But I think Brian Flores did unearth something in regards to defending Lamar Jackson. I mean, to me, I think you make him make quick decisions, right? Because being a pocket passer is not really his claim to fame. He's a decent pocket passer. I don't think he's an elite pocket passer. He's not Patrick Mahomes or Russell Wilson or Matt Stafford, any of those guys. So I think you can put 8 or 9 up at the line of scrimmage and just blitzing, rushing, making him make quick decisions, and keep him contained from running the ball, right? Because ordinarily he drops back, he doesn't see anything, he buys time, and he takes off. But if you have 8 or 9 guys up on that line of scrimmage and you make a quick decision, you're already playing to what is the weakness of his game, right? Make him make a quick decision and make him make a throw. Don't let him scramble around. Don't let him run. So I think there is something to that.
And I think I would say 80% of his good throws on quick timing or quick decision are seam routes. Mark Andrews, seam route, throw it high, let him catch it. So,
They are. I mean, I don't think he throws well outside the numbers. He's a seam route up the middle, mostly to Andrews, mostly to his tight ends.
Yeah.
I mean, so like I said, you make them make quick decisions. Now, let me ask you. We talked about how to defend Baltimore real quick. What do you think about the addition of Deshaun Watson to the Browns in our division? What do you think that means for them?
I mean, everybody in this division is trying to be legitimate. I mean, that's number one. There were a lot of years that you saw, just trying to draft quarterback after quarterback after quarterback, and they just said enough. Let's go get somebody that's already established. I know there's a lot of baggage. I don't know how to unpack all that baggage because I don't know what the truth is, and I don't think any of us do. I think a lot of people are just trying to, make knee-jerk reactions to it.
Hey, I gotta say, Sherry Richards' comment, because she's right. Not to cut you off, but Pittsburgh has always played well against Lamar Jackson anyway. They have, but now she says we already wrote a good blueprint. We being the Steelers for Lamar. Floors will only improve it. I have to agree with that.
Yeah. Well, I myself, we need the blueprint because 2 years ago he made us look silly, bad. They replayed that one, the spin cycle move on ESPN about 35 times in a month.
I remember that now that you said the spin cycle move.
So yeah, we need that. Sherry, good point. Good point for the Steelers. The Bengals would like to share some of that knowledge, please.
Well, you got Mike Hilton. You guys swept Baltimore too this year, though.
Yeah, but we didn't play one of the games against him. You know what I mean? Like
neither game Jackson played?
No, we didn't play one of them.
One of them. Okay. Right.
Yeah, the first game we did, that was the one. Eli Apple was coming off the field going, big trust us, like doing all that kind of crazy stuff. And I was like,
yeah, he's a big talker. He always has been.
Yeah.
But so you were saying you think does Watson immediately make the Browns viable, or are they still going to?
Well, at least we're in conversation now. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Baker Mayfield didn't scare me. The idea of Baker Mayfield when they drafted him did, but after a year and a half, I never saw something that said this guy's going to turn the corner. You know what I mean? I think once you start 18 games, you should start seeing those maturities, improvements, slowing down the game, making better decisions. And I never saw that from him. I kept seeing the same mistakes over and over and over again. And, at what point do you pull the plug on that experiment?
Right. Well, it appears that they did.
Yeah.
And you're right. Baker Mayfield never scared me. And Deshaun Watson doesn't scare me. I think when he was last playing, he was an elite quarterback. I say he was top 5 when he was last playing. We don't know what that's going to be this year because he hasn't played for almost a year and a half, 2 years, right?
Correct.
So we'll see when he comes back.
But when the OBJ experiment goes out, and then I
think that was directly correlated to Baker. That's what I was going to say. You got Deshaun Watson, and Deshaun Watson won a lot of games in Houston, and I believe won a couple division championships in that division, but also had some really bad seasons. So he could go either way. I mean, I think Cleveland's a better team. I was going to say about OBJ, I think that they traded for
Amari Cooper.
I was going to say
Amari third round pick.
Yeah, but Amari Cooper doesn't scare me as much as what OBJ at the top of being used correctly would have scared me. I think OBJ is a bigger game breaker than Amari Cooper. And when the Steelers played the Browns, I was more scared of OBJ than I think I'm going to be of Amari Cooper. But Amari Cooper with Deshaun Watson can be something totally different. So I don't know, but OBJ player for player scares me more than Amari Cooper.
Yeah, I definitely think it's I think it's one of the toughest divisions in football.
Second, I got to rank the second toughest division behind the AFC West.
You can make an argument for the NFC West too. I think.
No, I don't think B-Dirt. They lost. They lost.
Just because Russ?
Because they lost Russ. Yeah.
Okay.
So you get 2 games against what? Luck.
You get the Rams. You get the Cardinals. You get I still think the 49ers are very viable.
49ers are very good, but we're talking about playing Trey Lance and Drew Lock.
Very true.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that the quarterbacks is the reason I have those two divisions, the West and the North. I mean, because you're talking about all those quarterbacks in the West. We know who they are. David Carr is in our position. David Carr is the Trubisky of that division.
That's crazy.
You know what I mean? Right.
That's exactly crazy.
And David Carr is a Pro Bowler. Trubisky's been to a Pro Bowl.
Yeah.
I mean, so I put those two up top, but then just think about how difficult the AFC is going to be to get in the playoffs. Now, you got those 4 teams in the West. I mean, I'm not even counting the Steelers. You got Watson, Burrow, and Lamar Jackson in the North. You still got Josh Allen over there in Buffalo. I like what Miami's done in the offseason. We'll see what Tua can do. And I like the Colts picking up Matt Ryan. He'll be good for them.
Absolutely. You look at the prognosticators right now. If you watch ESPN for 48 hours, you will see no one picked the same person to get to the Super Bowl from the AFC, to be in the AFC Championship games. Who's going to miss the playoffs from the AFC? I've on one episode I've watched Booger McFarland say that the Bengals are the best team in the AFC. They're going to go to the Super Bowl. And then I watched what was the guy's name that was the Jets GM that's on
Mike Tannenbaum. Mike
Tannenbaum said the Bengals are going to miss the playoffs.
Yeah.
And you know what? I could see either one of them being right.
You can't, but not because they're not a good football team. Just depending on how things go in that tough division.
Divisions are tough. Health is going to play a lot into the AFC over the next 3 years.
I think we play the AFC East this year. So you're going to get Buffalo on your schedule. And you guys are playing a first place schedule. So not only do you play Buffalo because we play that division, you'll also be playing who won the Titans again. You'll be playing the Titans.
Mm-hmm.
And you'll be playing who won the South. The Titans won the South. Who won the West? You'll be playing the Chiefs.
Chiefs, yeah.
That's a tough schedule. The Steelers have a second place schedule, but So I don't know, B Dirt, man, but we're gonna go ahead, man, and get ready to wrap it up, man. We've been on here for about 52 minutes. We'd like to try and keep around 45, 50 minutes. So we're gonna get out of here, man. You got any parting shots, man? Anything you want to say?
Just look forward to the rest of the offseason and the draft. I don't know. I'm excited. I'm excited to the point for the draft for the first time that not this season, but next year when it's in Detroit, I'm going to be there.
You'll be there. Okay. Nice. It's in Detroit next year. I think Detroit's one up. I'm excited to kind of see the Detroit Hard Knocks too.
Yeah.
They'll be on there. I mean, I'm not a Lions fan, but we both are from a place in close proximity to Detroit. So, I'm not against the Lions. They're in the NFC. So if they can be good, I won't mind them being good.
Tune in and watch them eat some kneecaps, right?
Right. But hey, man, I just want to say thanks for joining me. I mean, you're our first time together on here. We'll have you back at some point in the future to talk about the Bengals, maybe in a form of all of us, a Bengals fan, a Ravens fan, and a Browns fan. You contribute and guest a lot on my podcast, the Know-It-Alls. We're about to be doing that thing here at about 6:30 Eastern time. Check us out on YouTube, the Know-It-Alls. And just, check more of these great BTSC different podcasts. You have the audio podcast, Jeff Hartman's the Ride or Die Crew. I love listening out on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Tomorrow night, you'll get Brian, Bad, Anthony Davis, Tony Defio, and Shannon White on the Hangover. Check that out, and just all the other different podcasts and articles that are on the website that the BTSC has to offer. So we're going to sign out. Thank you for joining us. From me and B Dirt, peace.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks, man.